let's see, roll call.
Coleman,
Here.
Ermeling,
Here.
Kinsella,
Present.
Maloney,
Here.
Island, here, Nagami,
Here. Naked is here too. We're all here. So public comments, we've got a public comment here by, let's see, Jamie, hard to read, Wyland. Want to state your name and address for the record, please?
Jamie Wyland, 7010 Janelle Street, Weston. I want to start by acknowledging the incredible work and dedication each of you have shown over the years. Your efforts have helped maintain the strong foundation of our village, and I deeply appreciate everything you do for our community. As many of you are aware, over the past 3 years, we've consistently provided annual raises of 3%, along with comprehensive benefits package. We believe these measures have been key in supporting and rewarding your hard work. This year, we've reviewed our compensation strategy with a focus on sustainability and fairness. We recognize that many employees place significant value on their benefits, especially in today's economic climate. With that in mind, rather than implementing another across-the-board pay increase, I'd rather focus on enhancing our insurance benefits to better meet your needs. I believe this approach ensures that we can continue to offer a competitive compensation package while addressing important benefits that contribute to your overall well-being. Thank you for your continued dedication to our village and community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more public comments? Anybody on any social media or any Zoom or Teams call, TikTok? No. Okay. Move on to number 4, minutes from previous meeting. Approval of September 16, 2024, special board budget workshop meeting. What's the pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Cronin.
Second.
Second by Zagami. On the discussion. Anybody have any discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Unfinished business, number 5, review and discussion of the 2025 budget, all other funds except utilities and benefits. Excuse me, utilities. And utilities. And then benefits renewal up. Is utilities twice?
So this
No,
is
but-
the way we just added utilities. Okay, so we got a PowerPoint presentation. We're gonna walk through all the other funds up on the screen. Next, we're gonna have our pep talk number 3. Skip that.
Lots of ideas how you can change the world. Some people think you should just complain about it. That won't change the world, they'll just make it bad. Some people think you have lots of money. Make it rain everywhere you go. Some people think you have to be really loud and yell a lot. It's like with a bullhorn shouting, "Hey you, yeah you, get my way right now, you heard?" Other people choose to just make fun of everything. That's dumb, everyone's dumb. It's easier to make fun of stuff, but it's cooler to make stuff. Some people think changing the world can only be done by the smartest person in the world. Just put them in a room, let them figure it out. The solution of world hunger? Food. Wow, that was like so amazing. Some people see the bad in the world and they just decide to ignore it, but that won't help anything. Some people think you have to be really famous, super cool. In fact, lots of people think you have to be really powerful to make a difference, like being mayor or senator or president. But the truth is, a title doesn't make you more important. The world is changed by you. It's one person filled with love, and they just have to live it out. So they do something awesome. Then that person is filled with love, and they do something awesome. It just goes on and on and on and on. And the next thing you know, everything's awesome. Some people think it's impossible to change the world.
It's impossible to change the world.
Well, you can see why they could think that. Living in a world with kids who are hungry, people who are homeless, families who aren't happy. I'm just trying to figure it out like everybody else, man. I do know this though. Next time you feel overwhelmed or totally alone, remember this. Things don't have to be the way they are. The world is changed by ordinary people. Little people living out big love. That's what gives the world a reason to dance. So, how do we change the world? At the start of this year, I asked all you guys to make the year more awesome. Time to be awesome and great.
I thought this was a fun one to bring out. 'Cause a lot of times we think we're just a small group of people here sitting in this room, and your decisions actually do affect other people's world. Those people that don't ever leave the village of Weston, you affect their world, whether it's the parks you and the budgets that you adopt, whether they're gonna have an extra $5 for Starbucks every day or not. Your budgets and the way that you implement the operations here at the village do affect people's world. So I thought that was kind of cool. So the main thing that we're gonna look at again is just a quick look at the general fund. I wanted to give a quick view. This one we haven't brought forward yet. It does show where each department is changing so far. Municipal court, obviously, we're just recording the net right now, so the full expenditure is gone. Finance, the big changes, we're trying to balance out the amount of labor put into taxes. And that also is the insurance. Also, insurance is going up for the village, and that's under the finance. Safer, that 170, I'm not sure what was decided. Was no decision tonight, that is at a different meeting, but as of right now, we're gonna use the higher dollar amount. Safer's looking at $170,000. Public Works operations, right now, part of that 203,000 decrease is the 170 that we moved to capital, but the balance is we took a relook at salt and at fuel. So I can guarantee you fuel prices are going to be going up and we're going to get hammered with snow. Other than that, public health services, that decrease, that's going to be the Humane Society that's now being paid by Mount Bay. And I think that's about it. That still assumes an 11% increase in health insurance and a 3% wage increase across the board. Next page. So when I was looking at the all other funds, which is more or less all our special revenue funds, I did see where we've been putting in more efforts into whether it was curbside pickup, and then also a lot of effort put into the utilities. So when we do an overlay there, we send out our street guys to adjust the utility infrastructure to make it ready for an overlay.
Yeah, we repair any of the manhole water valves that are, after 20+ years in the pavement, they tend to start failing, so we get those fixed before we put new asphalt down.
So when really looking at this and looking at the trend, I did move some street labor over to the utilities. You're gonna see an $18,538 surplus right now. These numbers are still moving around. They might budge a little bit yet, but this is where we're at right now. Next fund. So the next funds I want to walk you through are the special revenue funds. These are the funds that are used to account the revenue and specific sources that are legally restricted to expenditures for specific purposes. Refuse recycling grants, the TIF funds, aquatic center room tax, civic and social, park and rec. All these funds, the majority of their revenues come from non-tax. So walk through the first one's refuse recycling. Fees charged this year are going to be unchanged. If you look at the bottom, at the end of 2023, we had a fund balance of $168,000. There's no reason to really keep such a large fund balance in this fund. So even though advanced or waste management will be going up, we're gonna kind of trim that fund balance and use it up, not use it up, but kind of lower it. So keeping fees the same for another year, I think would be a great idea to just kind of,
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
In that refuse and recycling, we have landfill, architectural engineering service, electrical, telephone. What is that?
that's all for our landfill. We have monitoring that we do for our landfill every year.
Oh, this landfill
Yeah, it's
here.
the gas extraction
Okay.
system.
Yeah, that's fine.
Other than that, I don't think there's anything really. I did have a cool fact at the end, actual garbage service, so what we pay for what a citizen would have for waste management is $137.76. We overcharge because we also charge for our bulk item drop-offs, and we charge for our curbside pickups for the leaves, for the spring and fall. So those are all the activities that are paid for out of this fund. Any other questions?
I just was gonna ask now on in the budget.
Yeah.
Did we take the cost of the elections, like it was gonna be real high this year and lower next year, or vice versa, we talked about paying that?
So general, you're talking more about the general fund,
Yeah.
yes. So in the general fund, we went back, go back to the other. Oh, yeah, we couldn't see it in that one. So the contingency reserve, it was in 2024, we had a budget of 40,805. In the 2025 budget, we have 55,805. So we moved some of that election cost into contingency, and the rest of that election cost we are using and purchasing equipment for elections.
Cause I know we talked about how it goes up and down, and we like to keep it more steady.
So we grabbed those funds and we put some to contingency, and the rest we kept in elections to buy equipment.
Okay. I just remember that we had that conversation.
And the equipment is the Badger Books outfit,
Badger Books and Express Boat.
and are we keeping the same number? Because I seem to remember at one point we had too many of them and.
We would
sold
keep the
them to
same
someone
number.
else, and I'm sure
Yep.
we
We
definitely
would keep the
lost
same
the
number.
sorts on that, but.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, the next fund we're gonna talk about is the grants fund. This is the ARPA funds right now. I have the being shown as just being used up in 2025. Tip one, continue to work on Weston Avenue, that is reflected in the transfer out of $8 million. So this is a special revenue fund. We don't actually record any capital projects in this fund. This fund is used to record the increment coming in along with the state revenue, and then we do admin fees out of here and grants. Any questions on the TIF fund? The next fund is the CDA TIF 1. As you can see, so the miscellaneous revenue, that is money that the CDA fund receives from TIF 1, and then that matches the transfer out. The transfer is the principal and interest payments used for the CDA to pay the CDA debt. I have noted on there that as of 12/31/2024, the CDA will have a balance of $11 million left. So we would need to accumulate $11 million to pay off our CDA debt. If we wanted to close the TIF next year, we probably couldn't because we don't have 11 million in the bank. But if that's the goal is to stop spending and the TIF, accumulate the $11 million and pay it off.
You know, there is a lot of administration and other costs in the TIF,
Yes.
and if we close that TIF, where is all those costs gonna go?
So when we close the TIF with the state laws, they allow us to take, last time we calculated, it was about $400,000. So we'll be able to increase our levy $400,000, and we are making sure that the costs that we have for administration, our ongoing costs, are not gonna exceed that. So they'll be able to be absorbed with
With the
additional extra.
Yep.
Any questions on TIF 1? Okay, next one. This is TIF 2. So in 2025, we're looking at doing Schofield Avenue. You can see that's the other financing uses. That $2 million will be heading over to pay for Schofield Avenue project. The increment is projected at $715,000 this year. We'll have to, I was unsure how to budget these guys. As of right now, both TIFs increased in their equalized value, so their increment should be going up, but we're not sure what's gonna happen with the tax rate. So the total tax rate, we're gonna anticipate dropping. So there's a little guess, I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna work out, but yes.
So under expenses, is that where if there were a TIP grant for a project, where that would land?
It would be under economic development and admin. Or did I
Isn't
put
there
it?
a Lockery project with like a $400,000 that,
So Lockery
yeah.
never did anything. It was the ABC development.
no, I get that, but for 25 proposed, right? So wouldn't, I assume that thing is supposed to be done this year.
Yes,
So wouldn't
Lockery
they
has
get
the
25
450
extra?
for the
Yeah,
firehouse.
that would be in there then. I forgot about that grant.
Okay, so that would likely get added to that 70, 40, 59 then?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Next one, so this is a CDA TIF. This is the same thing. This is the fund that we use to account for payment of our CDA revenue bonds. 2025 is the last year of the bond, so this fund will be closed out next year. So there's, once Schofield Avenue would be done, if there are no more projects for this TIF, we would be closing it. Because the debt would be all paid off.
If we did any property purchases in TIF 2, I know we had set aside some funds for that, but that probably would come out of other financing uses, or would we want to put that in the economic development piece?
We could put it either.
Okay.
Sorry, Jim.
Jessica, can I have you go back 2 slides where you mentioned, it was in tip 1 that if such when it closes.
Yeah.
That there's $400,000 that you can add to the levy.
Yes.
So, but wouldn't that property be worth more money? So I guess I'm trying to take a step back and look at this in a different way of, just because we can add $400,000 to the levy, do we have to charge the taxpayers $400,000 more? Like,
So they're not, so you have to remember what the TIF is all about. So right now, those properties in the TIF, say Marshfield Clinic, for example.
Sure.
Most of the money that they pay us does not come to our general fund. It goes to TIF increment.
Okay. Yep.
So all the value that we will bring in to our general levy, that's now only TIF increment, the rate we're anticipating dropping $1 when we close the TIF, and we'll be able to levy more. So if we weren't allowed to levy that $400,000, the rate would drop even under $1.
It's not an increase because they've already been paying it. It just goes into the TIF instead of into the levy.
No, that I get, but I'm just saying, so aren't those values now set at whatever, 2032 values? And now we take out of the big, so if our value was frozen at whatever the village's assets were in 2010 or whatever this TIF opened, right? And now that parcel that was a $10,000 vacant field is now a $10 million driving range. And so now it's taxed on a $10 million parcel, right? So that takes that number and inflates it to 2030 values.
Yeah.
That's how the $400,000 is come up with is that difference. It's not necessarily a dollar for dollar. We don't get 100% of that increment.
I'm sure the 400,000 is a ballpark figure. It's
Oh,
not gonna be
definitely.
exactly 400.
It was a calculation Jenna did when she was here yet, so.
Okay,
I just keep going back to that. I know it's not lower than that. With our TIF was grandfathered in. If we were to open up a TIF now, we wouldn't get even part of that. We'd be getting a lot less back to our levy.
Which is strange.
Well, it just
So
loses your incentive for TIFs.
when we close the TIF, although we get that tax coming in, but we don't get as much as we were getting before.
Nope, that's why there's a reduction in the rate.
Right.
Any other questions on TIFs? Okay, this is the aquatic center. The revenues we're budgeting are pretty close to what we've budgeted in the past. I don't have the 2024 budget, but we were always pretty conservative on our pool revenues. And then the expenditures were always overestimating. So right now we're estimating a $33,000 decrease, but we do have a fund balance in there, so I don't think it's imperative that we change anything, but obviously that's something that maybe the park committee wants to look at in the future, if we want to increase rates, if Rothschild and Schofield will not be joining us with their pool, do we want to add residential, non-residential? I think that was talked about once before too.
Yeah, I did inform the park committee, so we did come in under budget on contracted services. Got our final invoice today, it was just over 57,000, which brings us to 131 plus, which was budgeted at 143 for contracted services for 2024.
Nice. So that number will look better next time we bring it up too. Next. Okay, for the room tax, we're budgeting pretty status quo. And this still has, nothing has changed from how we budgeted in the past. Questions on room tax? Okay, this is our civic, social, and parkland trust. Civic social accounts for most of the farmers market. Nothing has really changed there. And then the parkland trust, we will be getting more parkland dedication, and we will be needing to use those funds a little bit more diligently in the future, hopefully to support the maintenance and growth of our parks. Utility funds, we have 3 utility funds: water, sewer, stormwater. This is the snapshot of the water utility. There is no projection in increased rates. We did have an 8% increase from 2023 to 2024. Or was it in 2023 we increased our rates? Yeah. Is there any questions on water utility?
I'm looking like we're not gonna have to raise the rates again for a while.
I don't think we should hold off. We skipped this year, but I think, I gotta see, I don't know if we're eligible for a simplified rate increase. If we are, I think we should take it next year. The simplified rate increases are free and they don't require a ton of work. So if you can maintain as long as you can without having to go through a full-blown water rate increase with the PSC report, I think that's beneficial, and also make sure that the increases that you have are not so large. Any updates on the projects?
I'd say a lot of it's probably gonna come down to some of our PFAS funding, things that we might be able to recoup through the class action lawsuits. The safe drinking water loan for well 4 is, I guess, was approved in September. The closing of that document was. or
September
earlier this
11th,
month.
we closed.
Yeah, so that, the next big project, which would be the well 3 treatment, more than likely the PSC is going to require or ask us to, look at a rate case, so. Thanks for trying to see where we're at in 6 to 8 months. And I guess discuss how we wanna handle that. Because I don't have a confirmed yes or no answer.
Hard to say no.
Here's the sewer utility, we're still showing a negative net income, Michael and I are gonna look at that again. We projecting the 2025 revenues was a little bit more difficult, struggling, trying to, because right now it looks like the total revenue that we're gonna be getting in 2024 might be less than last year. We still haven't decided where exactly we're ending up. We're trying to estimate the 2025 with a 18%, between 18 and 20% increase. Next one. This is the stormwater utility. You can see program management went up. We're allocating a few more wages to this fund, trying to match closer to the actual time spent here. As a reminder, for all our utilities, water, sewer, and storm, project expenses are not reflected on these. These are just the revenue and expenditures. All project expenses are actually recorded in the asset, so in the balance sheet section.
Should this be a net gain, like $300,000 gain, or is it the idea to balance it at close to zero?
So last year we got approval to increase our rates quite a bit. I think in the future, we plan on using these funds for needed projects for the stormwater.
Yeah, the stormwater utility, I'd say, was underfunded for quite a while, so it really doesn't have much of a fund balance, whereas water and sewer, the depreciation expenses, everything is where it probably should be. There was a discussion with the finance committee, the fund balance policy is the stormwater utility really doesn't have a lot of cash on hand, and we've got the Business 5129 interchange pond in the project, or in the works. We have a few other DNR requirements we need to start meeting. So, you know, even our street sweeper right now, that's being paid for by the general fund, that really should be paid for by the stormwater utility, but stormwater didn't have money to pay for that piece of equipment. You know, and Jessica mentioned wages, you know, my wage, Dan, or now Coors, people in those positions, we removed all salaried wages from stormwater utility years ago. But I spend, you know, 15, 20 hours a week, maybe on stormwater, and none of that time is actually paid for by stormwater utility, so we're trying to better capture that where it should be.
Isn't that the discussion that I got corrected on stormwater, that we wanted to be the zero balance?
Right.
So if it's a zero balance, and we don't have money in there, but the street sweeper should be in there, then why don't we take it up?
Right, now we're gonna continue where it's at, but we are looking at purchasing it, so that is where we could use the funds out of the stormwater utility to purchase all
Are
of
we gonna
these.
make that change then for next year? Oh, yeah. When were we gonna talk about that?
That's usually something we.
I know, but I thought we were gonna do 20%, that's it.
That's the sewer utility, this is
Sewer.
stormwater.
Alright, let me just go a little bit further, and hang myself, so I appreciate that.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate it. That's fantastic. Okay, good.
I think I'm done. Is there any more questions on any of those funds? Anything you want to see next time? Yes.
If we wanted to balance that stormwater, how much we have to increase it?
We are balanced in stormwater. Sewer is not balanced, and that's where Michael and I are gonna look at it. We need to maybe look at the projected revenues for 2025. I like to estimate low, and it could probably be a little bit higher.
Jessica,
Yes,
the stormwater, as Michael was saying, doesn't pay all the expense.
we're working on
So-
changing that yet.
Yet how much we have to increase it to support that expense?
Right now, it can support quite a bit. When the board authorized that increases it last year.
Yeah.
Our budgeting and our allocating expenditures practice did not change. So now that we're seeing the full effect of that increase, I think we can start changing the way that we handle it. Literally, it's been 2 years ago and stormwater had no cash. I mean, it was borrowing money from the sewer utility. So this is something new for us, and I think we're gonna start using that ability to pay for stuff to help take the weight off other funds. Yes,
So all you are paying for the pond in Schofield,
It will be paid for by the stormwater utility.
stormwater utility doesn't have them.
It does now. But we
It
now
can
have,
borrow.
this year, we've had a full year of, so the 2024 estimate is to have a positive net income of $334,000.
How much? Excuse me.
334,000 is our net income for 2024.
Yeah.
So we'll have money then to be able to pay for stormwater activities, and when we get to hiring engineering firms and constructing it, we have cash finally in the stormwater to pay for those things. Instead of borrowing from the city utility.
if you look at it, 2023, we had a net income of only $71,000. That goes to show that the track that the stormwater was on was not really a very strong track, but with that approval for the rate increase, we have really put a lot of money into that fund.
So with that said, then, if the intent is to spend some or all that $296,000 anticipated surplus, those dollars have to come from somewhere, right? So is this more things that we aren't going to spend, or is this, hey, we're actually gonna pay some of Michael's 15 hours a week, all of this $300,000, and then that will come back over the general fund?
Yeah, so if you look at a program management is, 46,000, so that's going up to 74,000, so that right there is $30,000 increase in, it's kind of wages, being paid for by stormwater.
So the increases that you had mentioned are already baked into this.
Some of them are, yeah.
Some of them, not a lot. There's still more that we can do.
But then that would free up, that would lessen the burden on the general fund, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. You go.
There's one more slide if you wanna, there.
Just as we get into the next part of the discussion about wages and benefits, this was just a reminder that at the last meeting, there was approval of the 3% increase to the pay grid and pay plan. Again, that's no budgetary impact, but keeps that pay plan, that study that we did last year up to date. Compensation increases are in the budget right now at the 3%. That was approved by finance and HR. Merit, the 15,000 reserve, that's the placeholder, that was approved by finance and HR. And then the health benefit, the 11% increase, there was no action taken on that because we wanted to get some additional information. Our update from Spectrum at this moment is that they'd like to have till the 25th. They are working within the co-op on a solution to mitigate that high increase that they were originally provided.
Tomorrow, 25th or October?
Wednesday, 25th, yep. I don't know that it was clear at the last meeting, but that large increase within the co-op, that's not experienced here within our organization or within SAFER. We are at 100 or a little bit more of usage percent. So I know Jessica talked last time that it doesn't, at this moment, we don't think it would be as or more advantageous for us to go out on our own, but.
No, wait a minute. They actually told you that the incident or the cause of this is not inside hours. That's unbelievable. They should have told you. because that, they're actually selling the program to us to stay, because we're not effectively making that change.
Well, I think
So
that,
let's say let's say the one that's affected, I mean, but yet we're all gonna have to pay, but and so, I mean, this is a co-op, it's supposed to be this way. But they really shouldn't be able to tell us that, because that makes us feel better about ourselves. And you know what I'm saying? That I find that, uncomfortable actually. Because now all of a sudden that gave us a sense of, oh, we're okay, oh, we should probably stay here. And that might not even be true, it might be us, but they can't tell us. Well, obviously, because that's the way they wanted you to look at it.
No, I would look at it, oh, our incidences are lower.
Yeah.
So why should we be in this co-op where they have higher,
I agree. That was my thought too.
yeah, I see,
I
I would
guess
look
you
at.
could, I guess you could look at it that way. I don't think they were telling us that, to jump. I don't think they were telling us that it isn't us, and maybe you guys should get out, right? Would you have taken it that way?
No, I didn't, I took it as they were trying to find the best solution, both for
Interesting.
all involved in the co-op, regardless of needs.
So they said they wanted till the 25th, but did they give us any sort of indication as to what that percentage would be? A range? Is it 11%? Is it more? Is it less?
I think they were trying to hope between 12 and 15 the last
That's what
time we
they
talked.
emailed.
Yeah,
I mean, narrowing it down a little bit more, you know, we've got, I don't know, 900 people covered in ours. So the HR person tells me, you know, because we've got some stuff in our family. Well, the increase isn't because of the Maloney, but it's somebody else. I think that's pretty bad. I'm done. I'm not gonna labor that. Okay,
the follow-up piece to this is I think the conversation, then next under the action items, Jessica can correct me if I explain this poorly, but we do have the 11% budgeted within now. We are reflecting that little bit of surplus within general. The thought would be tonight, would the board like to set some parameters to say, if you can stay within the 11%, okay. Because then we can move forward with budget if we can maintain within that 11%.
what does 11% represent in dollars?
74,000
70
in the
something,
general.
in the
fund.
general, yeah.
right? So,
So at a, oh, sorry, I should have raised my hand.
no, it's all right.
So at 11%, is our budget balanced if we figure in the 3% compensation increase
3% in.
and the merit market reserve?
They're both in
Yes.
because HR and finance put those.
Okay,
Yep.
so the
And-
budget's
and-
balanced if we
And the
include
11%
those.
is put in too, correct?
Yes.
So if we pull so 70 represents the 11. You leave you okay the 11 or whatever, you pull the 15, the merit. And let the 11 possibly go to 12 or 15, that 15 would cover. If we went to 12 or 15%. And they're kind of chiding us a little bit that it's gonna be 12 or 15.
That is the goal.
Wow.
So what does 12 or 15 equate to in dollars over 11?
Well, 11 represents 17, so.
I don't know, I didn't do that.
Can I build on your question? You keep saying that it's $74,000-ish impact to the general fund, but what is it overall, right? So what is the entire health insurance premium? Because we're not just moving the bar on one, now it's, oh, well, Safer was budgeted for whatever, $171,000 shortfall or whichever, but their number now just crept up by whatever for their health insurance too, right?
They have the 11% in their budget now, so if it went to 15, it would also creep up.
So the
I'm-
11% though is everyone, or is it just staff here? No, it's everyone. So what are we at, about 682,000? Is that what it represent? Or no?
If you,
What is health insurance? What is it?
11% increase across all funds is what you're asking.
What's
No.
what's the 2023,
Right.
what was our bill for 2024?
Yeah.
For health insurance? Right, because we're building off of that, we're adding 11 or 12 or 15% or something to that, some comes out of general and some comes out of fire and
So
some
I got
comes out.
the estimate. Let's see if I have to remember that the way we budgeted, we've had such
Yep,
turnover that health insurance, you can't really compare apples to apples every year, like the estimate's not close to the budget, so let's just see what we're estimating right now. Health insurance is 557,396 estimated for 2024. That's for everyone, including the utilities.
Just repeat that number one more time, Jessica.
557,396.
Yeah.
So if you take 11% of that, you're at like 61 grand. So if we're at $74,000 increase just in general, that doesn't add up. I'm not
So you have to
giving you the
remember,
numbers.
I moved people around, and the people that moved in, like, some of the people like moved to the utilities that were in here last year.
So that 560,000, we'll use easy numbers, it's simple mechanics, I understand, but, not you, but, the 560 is all people in the plan for the Village of Weston, to include Safer, to include everyone, or that's
No.
just,
Just,
so what's the whole shoot match?
But Safer isn't just funded by us, right? So
Right.
that's Rib Mountain's contribution in that too. Because, so they're asking for those funds from the municipalities and then budgeting it.
Okay, so what's some up there, right, because we're paying for what, 2/3 or something of that?
We're 66.
Okay, so what's 66% of Safer's dollars then, right, so we get an actual, we're not just looking at $560,000 increase. Or $560,000.
You're looking at 65 of the MP. MBM.
Mountain Bay, Safer,
Yeah,
everybody.
65,
It's
Safer.
gonna affect everything. I agree with what you're saying completely.
But we have to see the whole thing and then see, okay, so that's where we got, because it's not just the 74,000 at 11%. It's plus Safer, plus Mountain Bay Metro, plus utilities, plus however it's all broken out.
So was that $70,000 number, was that a number that we had all the numbers in?
No, the 70, that was general. We reflected that for general fund.
All right,
And Mountain Bay Metro is not in the co-op.
Oh,
they're not,
No, they take insurance separately.
and fire is, Safer is.
Safer is in the co-op. And we are technically represented together, I think, in the co-op. We get separate bills, but we are represented together.
how many employees do we have?
39. How many do we have on insurance? That I'm not sure. That's, but not all take the benefit.
I think all but a couple. So the 2025 budgeted health insurance is 711,556.
Yeah, but that's everything, that's Safer.
No, it's just the bills.
So how much, 7-1?
711,556.
And that's what year? 24?
25
25.
budget.
That's
That's with the
figuring the
11%.
11%.
That's what the 11%, so 7-11, you said?
Do we know what Safer pays in
That's
total?
not Safer, that's just to here.
I
Divided by
know it's
39.
safe.
That'd be,
I could get safer numbers, but I'm not gonna, I don't.
And I
I don't know
understand
what's
that,
all in there.
yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, right? Because you're gonna have to get their number, then take 66% of it, and then figure out what 11, like, it's gonna be impossible for
I
us to try to
think
figure that out here.
Josh always budgeted that everyone took insurance, and then that's why health insurance line was always budgeted really high.
Correct.
I don't know if he continued to do
He-
that.
but the
It's my knowledge,
711,
he still
the
is.
711,000 is with Safer? or
No,
not?
no.
Just here. And approximately 39, even if we just use 39 as a constant. 711. Divided by 39 is 82.
Was Josh figuring 11% as well?
Yes.
And but it was, and you said it was 551 this time, right? Did you say 24 was 551?
557.
So 557 and 771 are the two changes.
Mhm.
And that represents 11%. Oh, okay, it doesn't work. That's $220,000 increase from 771, that's 618, now those are those.
Just such the village with the employee and employer.
No, it's just the employer.
mean, we're talking 220,000.
We have another meeting next
So I
Monday.
got 154,000.
How much? But I
You
thought I
did.
heard 550 and
711,000,
And what's the other number?
549, and I subtracted 557, 396. That's 154,153. If you figure about 50/50,
Whoa. Stop right here. 771
yes,
minus 5, what?
557,
That's 220.
154,000.
Well, that's, it ain't, it's 220. How does $771,000 divided by 550
Oh,
something?
it's 711,000.
Okay.
Leave it till it's 11.
Minus 5.
557, 396. 154, 153.
Just to clarify, you were looking for us to make some sort of motion tonight if contingent on the health staying at 11%. Is that what your hope, is that what your thought was, or?
I don't care, I was just curious if the board was interested in that, or, so we're going through, and Corey would say, well, this is what it is. Would that change the board's mind of what they're planning on doing with health insurance? Is that something we need to take back to the insurance committee here at the village to get their opinion on it? I mean, I was just trying to see what the plan is once the board gets the information. What do they want to do with it?
I'm sorry.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna ask. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, what are our options at this point, right? I feel like this is the only option we've been presented of. Here's your plan, here's your new increase.
I talked about it once before. I said we can do a plan redesign. So does the village want to redesign the plan so it's not 11% increase there? So the co-op offers 3 different options for a traditional plan, 3 different options for HSA plan, meaning that the deductibles for these plans are all different, which obviously changes the premiums, right? Depending on how deductible and the way that the co-op offers these plans, there's different levels that you can choose. So that's one of the reasons we're trying to see, do we need to get the insurance committee together, or is this board gonna say, yes, we can keep what we have and move forward?
I personally,
I'm sorry.
I personally would like to see what some of the other plans are, or what they have to offer. I mean, maybe we wouldn't wanna do that to the employee, but we should be able to know what those other options are.
Yeah, I guess, right now, you got the insurance company telling us that, hey, we're gonna see a 12 to 15% increase, maybe, but that's not guaranteed. I mean, initially, when they came back, it was 30%, 35%. I mean, I don't mean to offend anybody here, but as a village, we can't stomach a 35% increase for health insurance. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean that the employees have to look, does that mean that we have to look at it and say, do you guys want us to pay your health premium, or do you want to get a raise this year? I mean, I don't know if that's what that means, but I guess that's kind of the point that I'm at. Can we afford to approve a compensation increase and a health plan benefit increase and still balance our budget?
So, yeah, to reinforce that point, I asked that question and there was a survey that went out. I asked this in last finance or 2 finance HR meetings ago. There was a survey went out to staff, and I don't, maybe do have my notes here. I think
I can't remember.
it was, I think, all but 1 or 2 employees that took the survey. So the survey was like 31-ish people. And I think all but 1 or 2 said they either want it all towards pay, or I want it split 50-50 between pay and insurance premium split. If there were, because I think I worded it as, so it's $75,000-ish in insurance premium increase, and it's for the general fund, it's $75,000-ish for compensation increase, and then the merit is in addition to that. So if we didn't have $150,000 to spend, we had $75,000 to spend, would you rather see it $75,000 in wages or $75,000 in insurance? And the majority of the folks wanted it in wages, not in insurance.
What is the portion that employees pay for insurance?
It's 85-15 until you complete wellness, and then it's 90-10.
And the insurance committee is made up of staff, correct? And what do they decide?
It just plan design changes is,
Okay.
or
But they don't approve what the portion they pay.
no, it's, I mean, it's a discussion point, but then it's brought back to the,
Right.
that's a board determination.
And are we mandated to stay in this co-op? Do we have to stay there, or can you?
I think
put the thing
we're-
out for
No.
bids and then, oh gosh,
I think the first level was 3 years, and after that, it's year by year, right?
Yeah. Again, though, the piece that the advisement from Spectrum, not to encourage or discourage co-op, is just that we are at around 100% or slightly more than 100% on premium usage. And so if we went out on the market, it's not as advantageous as if we were under that 100% to get a better rate. It wouldn't be as competitive as if we, as our own group, were under that 100%.
Now, we can also stay with her, because she's independent. We wouldn't have to stay in this co-op, we could
Yes.
just get a different.
Yes, she could still be our third-party provider, and yes. And I think that's the options that we're exploring right now as overall the co-op explores how they would go forward.
Mr. President.
Yes, I'm sorry. Sure.
So,
Steve?
okay, I'm just kidding, sorry. So that being said, I think I'll make a motion to approve.
Oh, wait, he has to read that agenda item. We'll have to go from that one to
Oh.
the, yep.
I thought we were there, we were talking about it.
Yeah. We were just having the conversation. We'd have to go to the action items. I apologize.
Wow. Okay, are we there?
I'm gonna read it.
You gonna read it?
Number 6, discussion and or action on benefits renewal budget amount.
Can you read 7 and 8 as well?
Discussion and or action on 2025 staff compensation increases. Number 8, discussion and or action on 2025 merit market reserve.
Can you go back to that other screen that we were just at, please?
Sure. 1 second.
So I will make a motion to approve the compensation increases at 3% and the market merit reserve at $15,000 contingent on the health plan benefit increase not exceeding 11%.
Motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
I'm gonna do a second because I want to ask.
Second by Ermeling. I have a question.
Okay, would you object to waiting until they find out, what the other plans are?
So I guess the purpose of my motion is it allows staff and Jessica to keep moving forward with the budget until we have those numbers. It's contingent on the health plan benefit being at 11%. We don't know what that's gonna be at. So it allows her to keep moving
We're
forward.
not locking us into.
I'm not locking us into it.
Okay.
If the health plan comes back and it's more than 11%, we're gonna have to revisit this at the October 7th meeting. But for now, it allows her to keep moving forward.
Okay. Or you could keep the 3, keep the 11, or maybe 12 and 15, drop the 15,000. Because I think that 15,000 would cover 12 and 15, if they think that's where it's coming.
Correct.
So those are just options, but you're laying it out that we can at least move forward. I get it, I understand.
Council allows for plan design,
Yep,
if
yep, yep.
changes.
Yep. I agree.
Can-
When
I'm
is,
interested
I'm sorry, when is absolute date that we have to say yea or nay?
We are gonna be having our publication
Oh, it's
meeting.
you, that's right.
That's the end of October,
Okay, all right, we got a little time.
and that's where we need to,
And when's our next budget meeting?
the 6th of October.
7th. I thought it was the 7th.
Oh, the 7th?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But
So-
the 21st would be, October 21st would be our,
Because I'm going.
No,
Just have to be.
just hit.
Yeah, okay. Why would it, why can't it be
Are you here on the, you're not here on the 7th, you're here on the 21st though,
21st of?
October.
Yes.
Is that what you were looking for? Is to be able to keep moving forward and then revisit it
Well,
if we have to?
I'm fine where we're at. I was just curious if the board said, we don't want to talk about health insurance anymore. Here's the funds you have to work with and make it fit. And that's what, but I mean, if you can have all the involvement you want, I don't care. I just gave the board an out.
I understand.
No, I like this, Jim.
I really like the way that trustee Cronin phrased that. If you could restate the motion, so I understand fully. I personally feel like we should wait to take action on this. If we're okay using that as again, that placeholder number, so we don't hold staff up, we don't hold any of this other stuff up. But I really don't think we can act on all these items on the sheet until these 4 items on the screen, until we know for sure what those numbers are. And then we can back into that.
Well, let me take a stab at it. So I believe the motion was a motion to approve a 3% increase on staff across the board, the $15,000 merit increase, and health insurance increase of 11%.
But the
but
first 2
all-
points are contingent.
Are contingent, and also it means that you can move all those numbers around to a different company, or in the same company, but a different co-op or different insurance. So there's moving parts in this, but at least we're saying yes to, we agree at 3, we agree at 15, and 11. Now, let's say the insurance comes back at 14%.
Well, then we're gonna have to talk.
Then it's gotta top, it's not gonna work. And then you could drop the $15,000 and then put that towards the insurance. I'm sorry, Barb, that's all, but wait a minute now, you have a discussion for it? Okay,
Just
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, because he wanted that to be, say the motion, so we know we're gonna be voting on it. So go ahead and your discussion.
Okay, well, I guess, is the employees going to be looking at, if, say, it does come in at about 15, look what other options there
Yes.
are,
Yes.
so that when we vote on it, we have that information also? Because I don't know which way I'm going, if there's a way of cutting some of it by changing deductibles, whatever.
If it's higher than what he just made a motion, it's dropped. And now we gotta do another one, right?
I'd say, so I have health insurance through the school district through my wife, not through the village.
Thank you.
They were looking at a 27-ish% increase. They did some plan changes and it's less than a 5% increase, so. I guess I would foresee if it came back as a high number, we'd do something similar with the school district.
I mean, we would work with Corey at Spectrum to
Yep.
help us through that, to navigate that, as our third-party administrator of it. But yes, knowing if we have that direction tonight that we can go up to the 11%, then it's within us and working with Corey to see if we can achieve that. If we can't, we come back.
Okay, so the motion and second is on the board. To the satisfaction of the board, everybody understand?
Mhm.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Okay, so we have a 4 and 2, so we have approval of 4 against 2 nays.
Song, do you have the nays? Okay.
Okay, all right, so let's see, that's 6, 7, and 8. 9, discussion and or action on trustee compensation increases and committee and commission members stipend payments increases. I believe there was a handout tonight, and thank you for that, everybody. Or is that just me?
Nope, everyone should have got this on their computer. If you,
Oh, no.
Yep.
He's got it.
yep, everybody got it? Okay.
So, just going through this, yeah, we're up there with everybody. The president doesn't matter to me, but the trustees is definitely high. The one here, when you look at the town of Maine, or the village of Maine, excuse me, president is also DPW supervisor and administrator. So the 18,000 annually for the village of Maine is strictly for the president. And the supervisor and the administrator gets her up to about a little over 55,000. So that, and it is what it is. That's just what it is. All the stuff they had to do with broke out, she assumed all that. And then there are also 6,600 for the for the trustees. And then you can see that the committee commissions in there, you can see some of the things with some stipends in there. Some people have not responded yet.
We only had, 3 that haven't responded, and
Yeah.
we, at this
Not
moment,
bad.
we did only check Marathon County, although some of these municipalities, because of Marathon County size, do crossover.
Yeah.
Marshfield, I have noted, crosses over into Wood.
Yeah.
There are other municipalities that you'd like checked, we're happy to do so.
You know, so we've got a nice sized community and I think it's, you know, fairly done, whether we wanna look at stipends for meetings or not. I think there's only one that stands out as probably more than it should. At a population of 2,000 people. Otherwise, any thoughts, discussion on that? What I had said, is to, use some of that 15,000, and give a 10% to trustee and president, and then add another $10 or so for, committees and commissions. But I'm gonna retract that, because, if we need that 15,000 for staff, then that's probably where I'll end up. So anybody else wanna talk or make a motion? It's,
Well, I'd like to point out that our population is, I mean, one of the highest ones on here.
Yep.
Besides Marshfield. Also, I guess I'm just really, I understand I'm not employee and official, but if, you know, we have that kind of money in the budget, I guess, why can't we get a raise as well?
you
I
know,
also want to point out that I have had 7 meetings this month. I've signed up for 4. So
yeah,
I guess my plan is working.
the extra budget, the extra, parks. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
So I'd like that we look at CPI, and cost of living increases. I think there's other organizations that do that too. Or Veterans Affairs does that, Social Security Administration does that, right? So all the residents that are on Social Security, what was their increase this year, right? Like, the cost of a cup of coffee went up too, right? I think in order to be equitable, you have to treat everyone the same. So if you're looking at a 3% staff increase, you should look at communities and missions that are not less than 3%. You should look at all of these. I also think Jamie has a valid point too of there's no data in here. So if you look at, I'm just gonna use the Village of Maine and pick on that because somebody else did already, but so there's $6,600, I think that divided by 12. Right, so you're at $550, but then you add in 6 meetings a month at $60 per meeting. Well, now it's not $550 anymore, right? And it's almost I feel like there's maybe some kind of a middle ground here to maybe it's not an annual increase or the annual increase could get looked at differently, but I think they're onto something here where I had mentioned earlier about having 2 meetings a month and that was shut down. That was a terrible idea. And then I presented actual facts that show that we do have 2 board meetings a month. On the average, in the last 2 years, we've had 2 board meetings per month. And whether that's because we're buying property or selling property or hiring staff or whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. The average over the last 24 months is 2 meetings per month. And so you take this number and is this number based on 1 meeting per month or is this based on 2 meetings per month of the board? And then all the additional committee and commission meetings that aren't, or maybe they are factored in, but are they factored in an extra committee mission or committee meeting, an extra commission meeting, take on this extra committee or commission? It's not necessarily equitable. There are some folks that don't show up for any of the meetings. We're doing via Zoom or it just doesn't seem to be fair across the board in that regard. I donate most all the dollars that I get here, so it's not all the money for me. I'm here to make Weston great again, not to try and make a buck. I can make way more money working on cars than I can sitting in this chair. But I feel like I have something that can give back to the community and help everyone, not just help one person to the best.
Anybody else?
would there be consideration, to maybe get compensation per meeting that's not a scheduled meeting?
I mean, I would entertain, let's see.
Whether it's a per diem, stipend, or, I'm not quite sure, but it still costs money to drive here, it still costs money to take off of work, I mean,
I would imagine some of these, you know, like maybe Schofield just gets a periodic raise. I have no idea if anybody has an answer to that. To be at those numbers, but, or do they just give themselves a raise? I have no idea.
I'm sure municipalities look at it on a regular basis before the elections, or through their budget process. I do have a piece in there about, I did reach out to Attorney Edie about adding the stipend, or wage outside of prior to taking papers. Because I from the conversation with the League of Municipalities, you couldn't add to the wage midterm, and they felt a stipend was adding to the wage.
Oh, no, this has to, you have to get elected. No matter what we do, you have to get elected to get a raise. There's no way we could give ourselves a raise without being elected.
Agreed. I don't think any of the conversation we're having right now impacts the Jim or tomorrow, Jim. This is if Jim is elected in 25, Jim, right? This isn't
Yeah, it's May of 25.
like, I don't think this is impacting the folks sitting at this table today. This is moving forward, just as we're talking about budgets, right? So this wouldn't even be a budget. I guess it would be for a portion of 25 or a portion of board, but the impact is not great to the actual budget for 25. If there was a 10% increase on these numbers, it's not really 10% of what's on here, because you're only looking at half of 2/3.
What kind of headache would this be to monitor? And here's another one, do you have to physically be here, or can you be on Zoom? Well, I don't know what everybody thinks.
Most of the municipalities that we pulled said per meeting attended.
Attended, okay, because I agree. Michael, you had a question?
I was just gonna ask, are all trustee wages and committee member wages in the general fund?
Except for public works, which,
Oh, okay.
to some utilities,
Okay.
it's
Is that
split
just
3
the
ways.
committee members or also the trustees that are part of that?
All trustees are in the general fund.
Regardless of where they are, tourism, planning, or public works, okay. So I would entertain, I mean, I'm not gonna make this a motion, but I'm just, my thoughts. So my thoughts are, the BOT meetings, the scheduled 12 BOT meetings a year are what you signed up for, okay?
Along with your
Yep.
committees,
No,
if you're chair.
I don't know, I mean, there's some that aren't on committees for, a while, some have more committees, some have more commissions, whatever. So, well, first off, $10 for committee and commission is what I would propose. $10 more so a committee member will get $50 and a commission member will get $60. That, I don't believe there's been a raise on that for 24 years, correct? There has, yes, there has
No,
been.
there hasn't.
No, when we had a raise, that I proposed 5 years ago, that's the first raise since we were a village, right?
plan commission went up.
Oh, okay.
when we were
Planned it,
in all those
yep.
meetings.
Did it go like $10?
Yeah.
Okay,
Everybody
so
used to be 40.
so the commission went, $10 more, so,
That
but
was
tourism,
like 10, 15.
but tourism is too.
Tourism's 40, isn't it?
Oh, I thought I read.
I thought commissions were 50.
I thought commissions were 50 and committees were 40.
I think it was just plan commission, just we used to have some crazy.
Okay, so in here though, so we have to just make sure that's still right.
So
so-
plan commission, you're saying? Plan commission is 50, everybody else is 40.
The planning commission is still one, so that needs to be $10 more. But then, but let's just not have it that way, so have planning commission $10 more. All the rest of committees and the tourism commission would be $10 more, but 50 instead of 40. So that's what I would propose. Then the 12 BOT meetings. And then, after that, doesn't matter how long the meeting is, because this one might be 12 hours yet tonight, is $50 per meeting after that for a BOT,
For any other meeting outside of the
Yep.
12 a year.
except the 12 year.
is our
50
normal.
bucks, 50 bucks.
Really?
Oh, I saw, because in other words, it's a requirement. What are the required DOTs? So board review would be it, yes.
Board of review is required to meet once annually for a minimum of 2 hours. This is a reevaluation year though, so you move to adjourn right away and now we'll meet for your 2 hours in
Yeah.
fall. So I wouldn't say that when you go through reevaluation, if you meet to adjourn, that would be the $50.
Well, you know, we can slice and dice this all night long. I mean, because then we could say, well, geez, you're really supposed to be on a commission or a committee. You're supposed to be chair and somebody's supposed to be the vice chair. So we can dice this all night long. Or we could do the 3% or the 10% what I propose, because we haven't had one in 4 or 5 years. But I think the $50 per meeting would probably cover that and then not have a raise. So one or the other. That's just what I would say. So board review and the 12 BOTs and everything else is 50 bucks, but there's no time limit. It could be an hour and it could be 7 hours. Town of Maine is up to 3 hours is 60, $120 up to 6, and over 6 is 180.
But then it would only
I'm moving to
be
Maine.
for 4 individuals that would receive that.
I'm sorry.
Won't be for none until 25.
But but you wouldn't,
Correct? Oh, yeah.
Nothing would take into
Yeah.
effect until.
Yeah, we.
Until May of 25.
No, she's right. And only, it's gonna be 3. Because this year there's 4 up.
yes.
So the 4 that are up are gonna get it or not get it if we vote it. So the first time we did this, and it was a lot of talking, but we went from 4,800 to 6,000, and we went to 72 to 84. And I believe, I ran, so it was 4 that got the raise. And, the other 3 did not. In fact, one of them did not actually serve the next time around, so that person never got it. Which, you know, so here they voted yes to it, but never actually got it because they never went the next time around. So, but you're right, 4 would get it, and then for a year, then the other 3 would get it if they decide to run. Yes.
So I did ask Attorney Edie for his opinion on that. If I guess I leave to the board if you still want that opinion, or if that's what, we don't also have a motion on the floor, if that's what.
Well, because
proposed.
why I believe you have to run is because if we say yes to that tonight or in the future, the 4, this time around, the 4 have to be elected to get it. The other 3 will get it. And that is not fair. The other 3 have to run just like the 4. The 4 of us that run all might not get elected, but because we voted that the whole board gets it the next election,
I think
even
everyone,
though the 3 didn't go,
I think everyone should have to run.
that's what I'm saying. So everyone should have to run.
Everyone should have to run to get
I
it.
think it's by state law. Listen,
Well, no, I think Matt's probably right. I think you could go through one election and then make it happen. I don't think that's right, because then the 3, who's running this year? I am. You are? Who? Shane?
Shane.
One more. Who's running? Oh, the vacant person. Oh, you are?
No, Jim.
Oh, yeah, you and I already got. So Jamie and Steve and the vacant.
Okay.
We don't get it.
No, but you know you won't if we say that tonight. Yeah, you gotta wait a year, you gotta run. Go ahead, Jim.
Correct. So the seated trustees that are, and, well, there's no seated president. So Jamie and Steve would not be,
Until
you
they
would
run.
have to get
Until they
reelected.
run.
So you'd be, regardless of how you vote, if you could vote for a $5,000 increase right now, it wouldn't take into effect until you re-ran for that position.
In 26. You would effectively get it in 26.
That makes sense.
Anybody wanna change? I mean, we're gonna get some that are gonna vote no. So,
I mean,
that's
that's
fine.
I mean, this is for every meeting that we would attend.
Yep, you have to be here physically,
I know, but
Outside of the outside of the scheduled meetings,
outside
correct?
of the BOT and the board review.
So there's 13 meetings every year that you would not get a
You
stipend
don't get a
for,
stipend.
right, but you would for any.
for all the other ones,
all
correct?
the community commissions.
I'll take your $50, Barb.
Well, that's what I said to you last time. I said you could donate
I mean, if
extra
you're
money.
that well set, I'll take it.
You could donate
I
to a
just
charity.
figured we just got.
We got
I'm here.
We got a 5 years. Yeah, go ahead.
So I move to alter the compensation for committees and commissions for an addition of $10 per meeting regular or special meeting effective May 1, 2025.
With the caveat that the planning commission is the one, that is at 50 now, and the tourism is at 40 commission.
We're adding 10 to what exists. correct?
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Also move to leave the president and trustee compensation annually where it is. And any special meeting or additional meeting that a trustee or president is
Attend.
attends, because then you could just show up to any meeting. Is expected to attend because they are on set schedule.
That's a good point.
Right, so the chair, the vice chair.
Yeah.
Or if you're an ex officio member of a committee or commission.
A voting member.
Yes,
A voting member would do it.
ex officio.
So if you're
A
ex officio,
voting
you're
ex
voting.
officio member.
Yep.
To be compensated by $50 per meeting that is attended, whether it's regular or special meeting.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Pincinel. Is there a second by Wyland? Any more on the discussion?
I just want to clarify, so when you say regular or special, you're talking about, like, if you chair a committee and you have a regular meeting, that is considered, that you get a $50 stipend for.
Correct.
If we have a special BOT meeting because someone didn't renew their liquor license,
$50.
$50.
If there were a second planning commission meeting because Joe needed a conditional use permit and wanted to pay the $275.
Okay, I understand.
Another,
Then every committee and commissioner would pay the $10 increase, and every elected official, who's so the chair and vice chair, would also have that $50 impact.
oh, I'm sorry. Pam.
Just one quick thing. So a new trustee would be put in their seat the third Tuesday in April. So with you saying that it would be enacted on May 1st, so say you had a parks meeting prior to that, and a new trustee was put in that, assigned to that parks meeting, unless I misinterpreted everything. I just want to make sure that they get
Well,
that.
it's the official start of the new year. Yeah. Of the new.
So to clarify, that for Pam, my intent of the May 1st was for the committee and commissioners.
Oh, okay.
So the
I'm sorry.
elected official, whenever they are sworn in and take office, there could be a special meeting that day, and it would be effective that day. But the committees and commissioners wouldn't be appointed until.
Yes, it always affects Jen, because Jen's the 2nd of April, and she wants people seated for that meeting. So it's gonna be the 2nd Monday of April for Jen's commission, for sure. And you,
So committee members and commissioners are not elected though. So should they not get that compensation effective January 1st? They're not elected, they're appointed. And some of those committees have had the same people on, not to say that there's a problem with that. I mean, we seem to have an issue with getting people that wanna step up and help, but I mean, if that's the case, why not just give that to the committee and commission members?
on the first
January
payroll,
1st.
First
Yeah,
payroll
the first
change.
payroll of the year.
So, I amend the motion before we get a second on it?
We do.
Right,
She's already,
Very well. So I'll amend the motion to change that language to read January 1, 2025 for
First payroll of January.
first payroll for the meetings taking place.
They don't get paid monthly, only, yeah, they get paid annually
You're right.
Mhm.
For meetings taking place
in January.
January 1, 2025 and forward. And then on the elected official piece, after that date would be effective, the date that they are sworn in, the date that they actually assume that office.
I will second the amendment.
Okay, so we have amendment by Pincinel and a second by Cronin. Any more on the discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I,
So we have 2 noes and 4 yeses. Okay, so it passes. Now on the original
The original
motion,
motion,
the original motion. I couldn't see motion. Any more in discussion? No, we can't have, so, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So again, we have 4-2. So both the amendment and the original motion passes 4-2. Okay? You'll take the donation, and somebody that doesn't want to do it, and go to a charity, there'll be a little envelope drop in that new truck.
It's still taxpayers.
It does, everything we do here. is
Well, it goes to
taxpayers.
general fund.
Everybody,
So
you
actually,
can donate right back to general fund.
just to feed on that, we're not using licensing money anymore for the animals. So
Okay, so then,
Mr. President, I have a
yes, I'm sorry.
quick question. I just lost my train of thought.
Oh,
All right,
good.
give me a
Let's
second.
move on. Let's go.
It's been a long day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. So do you have it?
No, just keep going.
3,
I'll let
2,
you.
1, 10. Discussion and or update on village board trustee vacancy application process. Woo! Got good news. We had 3 as of Friday, and
No.
here we have 6.
We, actually, tonight, we have 8.
Nope, can't. Friday was 6. How can you have
So-
2 more?
We had 2 come in before the deadline on Friday, which
When was the deadline?
noon.
So I thought you said 6.
I did, I said 6 on Friday morning,
How
and
did
we had,
those 2 come in?
we had 2 more that came in before noon. Our first discussion point, though, for tonight is I did receive one in the mail today that was postmarked September 21st. I just,
No, take that.
That'd been
When was
Saturday.
Friday, postmark, probably about 3:30, 4 o'clock.
The
It was-
21st would have been Saturday.
it was postmarked
Oh.
September 21st, which would have been Saturday. I did make copies of it, but I wanted to have the conversation about whether or not you want it included, and then we would have 9 for
Well,
consideration.
just a minute, so we need to say yea or nay to that now,
Yes,
and would the original 8 say baloney? That this one should be able to sneak in, I mean, so they mailed it on Friday. What's your thoughts? I don't think we should see those. No, Steve, quit asking for names.
No, I said, it was mailed Saturday.
So, what do you guys, you want the 9 or the 8?
I think we should look at every candidate that is available,
I
to
agree.
not fill the seat. So
I agree.
If unfortunately the guy showed up tonight with a thing saying, hey, I really wanna do this, and you're a dog guy, nobody should look.
No, once we see the names, it's closed.
I understand that.
Will we see
but
the
they
names?
might have missed the-
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and originally, I'm just gonna tell you, the actual original date that Pam, I think, and Jamie had was the end of this month. And I'm just going, oh my God, let's not do that. And so Rothschild did the same thing. They went to the 20th for their open seat too. And as of Thursday or Wednesday, we had 3, they had,
0.
who's say, how many they have now?
I don't know, I haven't asked.
And I love Rothschild, love them to death, so I'm just joking here, so, Steve, you thought of it?
What was our posted deadline
Noon on the 20th,
and how many arrived after noon on the 20th?
1.
As far as I'm concerned, we should not look at that candidate. I'm sorry, but it was posted and that's giving a very unfair advantage to the other people who had their application in on time.
If I was the 9th and I mailed that letter at 9:30 in the morning.
But they didn't. They mailed it
You don't know.
on Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
Saturday.
It is postmarked the
postmarked on Saturday.
21st.
I put it in there before noon and some, it got caught in that box and they didn't postmark it until Saturday.
who knows what the postmaster is doing nowadays?
Uncle
Okay,
Bob.
something, they do,
Yeah.
yeah, they do. I just wish they'd tuck their shirts. Okay,
Just my 2 cents.
all right, what's our board want? We have 6 people here. We're trying to get the 7th on seated.
Yes,
You're a yes, you're a yes, you're a no. Yes or no on the 9th?
I'm trying to figure out the, no.
You're gonna know?
What are you gonna do now?
There's a 9th one that
Oh,
probably,
no.
you're gonna go no. So
No,
it's-
you missed the deadline, just missed the deadline. That's it.
Okay, and so do we have to have a motion now?
We,
Because I'm gonna say yes, so we have a yes
It's a
and a
split
no.
it's a split.
So it's a split vote. No, it's 4-2. No, it's 3. Oh, did you say yes or no?
No.
Yeah, she said no. These 3 over here on the left. Got it. All no. And
It's-
the 3 over here on the right. All said yes.
So it's,
You're sitting where you're sitting. I'm talking about the audience. The
Then
audience
why
sees
is-
the left over here.
Mr. President, why are you setting a deadline?
Yeah, if we set we set a deadline,
If, forget it, that anybody wants to come in, let them come in. No,
On that thought, and we didn't actually fix the poll.
you don't have to vote on it.
I know we don't, but we have to say yes or no, it doesn't make a difference.
So, first off, didn't you say that we moved the date? It was originally at the end of the month, and at some point, we had the
We,
date.
no, we never posted
We never
a later
posted it.
date. We
So
never,
that was an internal
That was an-
discussion.
yes,
internal.
yes.
So it was always posted.
it was always posted as the 20th.
And if we accept the 8th and we don't find a candidate in the 8th, then we gotta start all over, or we can look at number 9.
Yep.
We look at all of them, leave number 9 segregated, and leave him as a.
Or her.
As,
Or her. Start over
it,
again.
or they, or.
As far as I'm concerned, you start over.
Start over, start over.
It is postmarked to Saturday, correct?
It is, I just had Pam confirm, it is postmarked the 21st.
So I'm out, I'm with the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
And I'll,
Public record, too.
I'll go into what we said the 20th by noon.
Okay.
All right, yes, so we got a whatever. over here.
So you will see that individual's name, because tonight what I have is a folder with all 8 applications. All 8 applications are redacted, because when they go into the packet, that's public record, so they are redacted with the people's phone numbers and their email addresses, so that doesn't all go out into the packet. So you might see an application that says contact information, and it's blank, it's because I've redacted it out,
Blank or
so
black, all blacked out.
it's not blacked out, it's just blank.
Okay.
So, the first page reflects the 8 applicants. I did subset the ones so we could have the conversation, so you will see name, but their application won't be in the folder. Then what we had just advertised is on the back. And then again, all of the applications, so I can distribute your folders. It's a lot of information, so I thought if we handed it out tonight and then talked a little bit about process.
Jessica, there's only one square white
It's all
sheet.
yours.
Sure, I'll put it.
There's more white sheets in the fridge,
Nope,
I can cut
I'm good.
more white sheets.
I'm good.
You have bottled water?
No, there's
Calm yourself.
cups and
Yeah,
dispenser,
we
but
have
not
good
bottles.
water, we don't go by the bottom.
Sorry, we're here working really hard to get water, you did great.
You good? There's 2. I didn't realize they grabbed 3. Anybody want to go to this one?
Yeah.
Really, really good.
And,
I don't know what it is.
I was trying to do my cheese.
Another comment? Oh, here.
I thought you said the name was blank.
No, their contact information is
Oh, oh, the
redacted.
name is here.
Yes, their name is there and their address is there, but the rest of their contact information is redacted. So just the process that was outlined in the advertisement, I'm sorry, it's getting late in the day. Is that it would be held in open session, so that all 8 applications would be scanned and part of the packet on the night when questions would be asked by the village board to the candidates. They would be allowed to make a 3-minute introduction. That wouldn't be required, but they would be allowed to. And that night, that evening, the candidates that presented, it would be a random draw to see who would, the order in which that they would give the presentation and be asked the questions. So I didn't provide questions this evening. I didn't know if the board wanted to discuss questions, and
It always works good, but you're doing something.
or if you wanted me to do a draft of questions and then I could send them out and questions could be added to them. The evening that they are interviewed, I'm happy to ask the questions so the board can focus on the answers and making notes. We can also go round robin, whatever the board is comfortable with.
Scott's here, excellent. Oh, he's on the CD right now. Jordan? Yeah, Jordan, Dave Beasley, I wanna put a thing on the no trustee can wear a hat. But one of them really never have to.
intent to read all this tonight or?
No. The intent is just a little bit of direction as far as the interview process. Do you want me to prepare a list of questions? Would you all like to send?
Yes.
Okay,
I think you should.
okay. I can prepare a list of questions. I would send those to the board. If you wanted to add or subtract any, if you could just email me back, then,
How are we gonna do?
I was just gonna, go ahead, sorry.
with 8 applicants, I would say 3 to 4.
Mhm.
Five.
Okay,
Let's do 5 and then let's do no more than 5 minutes.
I agree.
No, 5 minutes per candidate. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or 40 minutes. So in between time, there'll be an hour. Yeah. You think?
I think that's fair.
Yeah, whatever you think, 3, 4, 5.
5 minutes.
Why would you want it?
Is that too little?
Jim?
Yeah.
So what does this look like?
I thought you say his name.
Or you have these candidates
5
quarantined
minutes.
somewhere, and you feel them one at a time, because how do you know candidate one, what their answer was, or are you
Yes.
expecting them to provide an answer outside that we can all unveil and read, so it's not, because Susie could be sitting in a conference room secured from this, sequestered, if you will, but watching the meeting live on Zoom, right, and know exactly
No, I
what
think this will be
John
closed.
said.
no, it wouldn't be closed session because it's not a closed session item. Like I said, that's why the applicants why their information's redacted, because it would go into the packet. But I think you could ask them to sit outside of the meeting, and if we felt like someone needed to be with them to make sure that wasn't happening. But then once they would be done with the interview questions, they could sit and listen to the other candidates as they came in.
I would agree. I think somebody should be in the conference. Somebody should be sitting there. No,
Mhm.
it can't be on your phone. Sorry. Because you should be able to watch the Zoom. I agree.
Right, if they do, then they can do.
And then maybe 5 minutes is just quick for
Yeah.
this position. Maybe it's 10.
5 is done.
Okay, let's do 10.
You have
And
to
who's gonna ask the
question?
questions? Otherwise, it's the same. You,
She said
Jamie?
she's.
Yes, you're gonna develop the questions and ask the questions.
I'm gonna develop the questions. I'm gonna send them to the board for any corrections, changes, or additions. We'll okay them, and then I can ask them the questions at night so you guys can focus on taking notes.
So if questions come back and then you send out the new revised, can we make a little game out of it and see and all guess who changed it?
Sure.
And have points and stuff? Yeah, that'd be fun. No, he's the right. This is the right from the audience. No.
You move to the left.
Yeah, okay.
I'm back now.
When is the date?
Okay.
So I think I'm going to see, we have 2 meetings in October, the 7th and the 21st. I'm gonna see if we can get all of the candidates on one evening. And if I can get all of them on the 7th, we'll shoot for the 7th.
And this candidate is not running again until 26. Right?
That's
And then
April.
25. Jasper's that.
Yeah, remember on the
Yeah.
7th, we got clips and budget.
Yeah, and then the 21st, we'd have budget presentation and board meeting,
Are
so
we picking out of the 8 or are we narrowing to 3?
I would think you're picking out of the 8.
I think we pick out of the 8. I agree.
Yeah.
And who can, so it's an open meeting, so.
It's an
staff
open-
can be here?
Yep.
Cool. Do you remember when, because when Wally resigned? I mean, I remember those were an open session, I think there were 4 candidates at the time. Or who asked the questions, but then
We went around.
one could be in the room, and the other 3 were out there and flipped on to.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, we picked Steve Minell. Right?
So
Steve
you're
Minell,
gonna,
right?
you're gonna let us know the date?
Yeah, we will try and group it with another evening of meetings.
Now, if you're gonna do 8 interview at one night, even each of them take 15 minutes. That's quite a bit of time.
I think we should shoot for 10. But then you're gonna get up and.
Can we
down
just
and all
not
that.
put that meeting on Zoom? It can still be open, but not make it live.
I think we gotta make it live. Why would we decide not to make it live when this is live?
I just don't want anybody to get an unfair advantage. That's my only point. And if you give everybody a 15-minute time frame, like Husheng is mentioning, someone could be sitting at home watching the meeting before they come in.
Oh, no, you would ask that they would be here present at the beginning of the meeting. I mean, you'd handle it right away and ask them to be here at the beginning.
Okay,
And then while they're all here, we draw.
Yes,
First? Yeah, I think
yes.
that's right.
and if they
Nobody
don't,
knows what their
No.
slot is. And once they're all here, we draw 8 cards.
so what happens if they aren't here at the beginning of the meeting? They're out of the running?
That's one of our deadlines.
Okay,
Well, I think we're gonna try to get all
I'm
of them
sorry.
at one
The
time.
thing is,
Yes,
one of them gonna sit out there, which is the last guy for hour and a half before we get in. But if we select them, we can give them the time, say, you should be here 8 o'clock, you should be here 8:30.
yeah, and we're not
9
wasting
o'clock,
somebody's entire
That
day.
way nobody's sitting there for hour and a half to wait for an interview.
but they,
If we can legally not show it on Zoom, then I'm sorry.
I think we could.
I would like to see it on Zoom, because I think it's appropriate to broadcast to the other 16,000 people that we're serving, right? First off, second off, I think everyone should be here for the entire time. If you can't sit for an hour and a half for your interview, you're probably not gonna sit for 3 hours for a budget meeting. Because this is just preemptive to what you're signing up for,
Yeah.
right? Also, I think to trustee Cronin's point, all those folks should be sequestered somewhere with unsecured. Like, you can't have Susie at home watching the meeting and text to John, say, hey, Johnny, make sure you answer question 1 and such.
You know, you gotta have your phone, but you can't use it right now.
Is
You
it
can't use it
possible,
for the next 2 hours.
is it possible to record the meeting and not post it until after?
well, we wouldn't post it till after anyways.
Right, but you could, someone can still be is attending virtually. You don't wanna prohibit someone from attending the meeting virtually.
I just think if 7 people are in there at any given time and then 1 or 2 staff is in there, you know, you can't take your phones off right now.
Nathan Crow to everyone.
We have a live event.
Yes, for what?
Who said yes?
Nate responded yes.
Yeah,
Oh, you must be talking about the meeting.
yes, what?
Can you take yourself off mute, Nate, and just?
Yes, we can record without going to everybody.
That would be a way to do it too.
We could record it.
We could record it and then post it after the fact.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, you don't wanna, but at the same time, I mean, Zoom meetings are a very relatively new thing, like for years and years and years, this village operated without having meetings put out on the internet. I understand it's an accessibility thing, but this type of situation is also kind of sensitive.
I mean, Nate, how many times have I asked you or Jamie, somebody from the media is asking when we're gonna have something posted? Because we don't have it posted.
Mhm.
And so it gets up the next day or 2 days later from this committee or that commission. So it's happening right now. You know, we're recording it, but we just don't post it right away. For whatever reason.
So on that, Nate, can you stop you can pause the Zoom meeting, right? So you could have agenda items 1 through 5, and agenda item 6 is this application live stream. You can pause the live stream, right?
You can put up.
Put them in a waiting room too.
Yeah.
Sure, for that.
Yes,
And then bring it back to the general outfit. We probably have, you know, like someone on here, doesn't show the little box in the corner of who's actually attending, but.
What about writing something on that meeting agenda stating that you have to do it because you are on the next step?
Yeah.
Like they actually can't just come in and write.
Well, the only problem I have with that is, how do we know that any of those people who are on the meeting aren't related, or somebody's sister, somebody's brother? I mean, I'm sorry, but I think this is a very I think we should keep it fair for everybody.
I agree.
no, you're correct.
You're saying
I would
that,
agree.
I don't care whether they have iPhone 7 or if you have Joe Smith, you want them not to be in the meeting.
Correct.
During this portion.
During-
The rest of
during
the
the
meeting
interview.
would be open, right?
Yeah.
Or the whole meeting is open, but the rest of the Zoom call could be live.
Yep. If you're here sitting in the room, fantastic, by all means, sit here and listen. But,
Your jam is at home
mhm.
after that agenda.
I have done a lot of interviews.
Yeah,
I never done you can come and sit down, listen to this fellow. Or you go sit down, 8 of you sit in that room until. You have some respect for the people's time.
I know.
We
but
can't have them sit there for hours to wait for us to interview.
Yes, we can, because I've also done a lot of interviews. I'm just, you're stating your opinion, I'm gonna state mine.
Sure.
So, yes, you can, because when I did most of my interviews, I didn't do on Zoom. This will be the first interview my first interview I did on Zoom. I think different rules apply on Zoom. That's an unfair advantage for anyone that's not the first one. If they get to watch the questions, prepare themselves, boy, that person or she answered it this way or he answered it that way. I'm gonna say it this way. I saw the three on the left all roll their eyes when they answered it this way. I'm gonna answer it this way. So, just kidding. I know. Well, I heard Paul McCartney 75 times.
Yeah.
3 hours ago. It's funny the first time. And yes, I am talking to you.
I don't think Dino's on tonight, but he might watch after.
He'll watch it.
Okay.
He's not,
Okay,
he texted me and
What
told
else
me he
we
was
gotta
in
do?
Chile
anything else on this?
and not listening to the meeting. I don't know why, but he did.
Anybody else? Anything more?
So you'll let us know when you can do this?
Yes, we're gonna try for the 7th through the 21st, but we will try to get all 8 on the one evening together.
What happens if we can't? Or are we gonna allow any of them to come in on Zoom if they can't attend?
No.
No, you have to be here?
Or we do 4 and 4. And then hold the recording.
One thing I thought of is, yeah, try and get all 8 you can.
I'm sorry, Tim.
Yeah, I think if you can't have them all here, you can either push it back or make them submit a sealed their answers to it, and then we just open the answers in the thing, and you don't even have to have the interviewee there. We could have an interview after the fact, and these are just answers to the questions, right? Maybe comes up with 5 questions, here's my 1 sentence or 1 paragraph answer to that question. It gets submitted in a folder just like this for everyone to read. That way, otherwise, again, it's that unfair advantage. If 4 people do it this week, and whether it got watched or whether I sat in the audience and watched the other 4 people said, it's unfair to the second 4.
Okay. So we're gonna set time slots, or are we gonna make them all sit here?
Full time.
Hmm?
Full hour. It's
Only
only
us,
10 minutes
6
per
of us here.
per person, so 80 minutes.
Okay.
Or 90 with transfer time, right, hour and a half. We've been here more than an hour and a half already.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's fine,
Okay,
they can all
so
be here.
discussion and update. Have we discussed it enough and stated enough?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's the last one. All right, everybody good?
Mhm.
Good?
Do we wanna do remarks and all that before we get into
Let's do
close?
that. Okay, so let's do, let's see. Remarks from trustees. Jim?
For the record,
Yes.
I only did the flip flop thing 1 time, I'm back on the right, so.
Okay.
Carry on.
Carry on. Jamie? Jamie Mark? Okay, Steve?
The only question, or the only remark I have, is it possible after you hear back from Spectrum on the 25th to send out an email with an update to the
Yes,
board?
we can do
Yeah,
that.
So we can all kind of get our wheels turning on how we wanna think about that.
Shane?
I'm good.
Barb? And, actually nothing for me. Thank you for the treats. That's very nice to share. Okay, topics for future meetings, 2025 budget timeline, October 7th, utilities and debt service, October 21st, circle back to previous demonstrated items in finalization. Future meeting, next meeting is October 7th, 2024, which is 7th, following clips meeting. And,
I have a question.
Yep.
On that meeting for Monday, October 7th, can we just put the start time at 6 or later if Clips runs long? So that if some of us don't need to be here right at 5.
Yeah, I think it's a realistic expectation, because how is, refresh me on, it's 4:30 for public works and 6 for
Yes.
planning, right?
So let's
I
do
think
6
that-
o'clock, or it'll start later if Clips runs late.
Hour.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, I agree.
okay.
So it's not gonna happen before that, okay? All right, so with that being said, we're gonna move into motion to move to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin 19.85 transparency, employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility to wit. Process for the administrator's upcoming 1-year evaluation.
So moved.
Moved by Cronin, second by Pittsnell, roll call
Cronin,
Aye.
Ermeling,
Aye.
Pincinel,
Yeah.
Noli, Mallory.
vote. Did she call me Maloney?
I heard cannoli.
Did she call me or cannoli or Maloney? I wanna know right now. Cannoli?
Oh, that's great.
I like them both the same. I like them both the same. Yes, the cannoli and the bologna. Wow. You know, there's a recall on brats in the state of Wisconsin. They came out today. All right, it's in Durand, Wisconsin. And it's Maloney's Bologna. That's the place to get it. Yeah, so there you go, Asaf. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Why didn't? Without me.
Yes, okay, we are in closed session. We're now in open session of action on full session.
No action taken.
Is that a motion? Or we don't need a motion?
Don't need a motion.
Okay, no action taken. Anything further? Hearing none, somebody make a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
By
Second.
Sagami, second by Cronin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried at 9:40, we are adjourned. Hey,
Stop. Stop.